Now this video is to show you how to use fraction busters to help you backtrack and solve a problem. Now fraction busters is actually in the rewriting category where you take a problem and you rewrite it to make it simpler before solving. I'm going to show you at least a couple different levels, especially with algebra here. So we're going to start with the basic um, question first. So if I had x over 4 minus x over 6 equals 2/3. Now, a lot of people don't like to work with fractions, so what Fraction Buster does is you think of a common multiple that 4, 6, and 3 all can go into, and what you do is you choose that number so then you can eliminate all of the denominators. So in this case, if I look at all of them, they're all multiples of 12. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this whole equation by 12. And when I do that, this would be 12x over 4 minus 12x over 6 equals 24 over 3. Now if I do the math of this, 12x divided by 4 is 3x, negative 12x divided by 6 is negative 2x, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. Now 3x minus 2x is x, so in a matter of doing a couple steps with Fraction Buster, I've already solved this. Now if I double check my answer, 8 divided by 4 is 2, 8 divided by 6 would reduce to 1 and a third, and 2 minus 1 and a third is 2/3, so it does work. Another way you would see this is you might see x over um, 9 plus 1 over x equals, we'll use 2/3 again. Now this time, like before we had all numbers, so now we have a variable on the bottom. So when you want to get rid of this, you want to look at, again, multiples. What do all these have in common? So they can multiply to get rid of them. And in this case, the least common thing they have in common would be 9x. So I count 3, 6, 9. There's a 9, and then obviously I need to get rid of the x. I need to do 9x. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything on the top here by 9x. That would be 9x squared for the first one over 9. 9x times 1 is 9x. And then 9x times 2 is 18x. Now I'm going to go ahead and divide this, and you'll see the 9's will cross out, so I just have x squared. These x's will cross out, so I just have 9. And 18x divided by 3 is 6x. So again, by doing fraction busters, I'm getting rid of all my fractions, and now I just have this to work with. Now if I was going to solve this quadratic, I want to move that 6x over, so then I have it in standard notation, and I also have it equal to 0, so I can find the roots or the x-intercepts. Now just by looking at this, I know this is a perfect square trinomial, so this is going to be x minus 3 times x minus 3. So then obviously the only answer is 3. Now another thing when you're solving things that are algebraic fractions, if you have a variable on the bottom, you can never divide by 0. That's undefined. So x could never be 0 in this particular problem. So when you solve it and you plug it back in, if your bottom ends up being 0, remember that would be an undefined or not possible solution. I'm going to do one other example that's a little bit more advanced now. So if I have 8 over x plus 5 minus 2 over x plus 5 equals 2 over x plus 1 over x plus 5. Now in this case, some people think they can just do x plus 5 and it gets rid of this x. It actually doesn't, because these are unlike terms. So what you would have to do to get rid of all of these terms on the bottom is I'm actually going to multiply by both x and x plus 5. And by doing that, I'm going to be able to get rid of these fractions. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to, instead of doing all this extra multiply, I'm just going to, this x plus 5 divided by x plus 5, they're going to cross out. So all I have left is x times 8, so this would be 8x. This x plus 5 is going to cross out this one, so then I just have to do x times 2, which is 2x. Now this x will cross this x, but now I have to multiply 2 times x plus 5, which is 2x plus 10. This x plus 5 will cross this one out, so I just have to do 1 times x, which is x. And again, by doing that, I just got rid of all my fractions. Now I'm just going to put my like terms together. 2x and this x would make 3x plus 10 on this side. And then 8x minus 2x is 6x on this side. Now if I subtract 3x on both sides, I would have 3x equals 10. And when I divide by 3, I get x equals 3 1/3. And now again, when I plug this in, this would make both sides equal. And remember, this is my answer, but x could never be -5 because I can't divide by 0, and it also can't be 0. So those are two numbers that cannot be included as solutions if they were possible, because again, you can't divide by 0.